We're live.
Hold on. I got a call. This is the IRS. I need to send them $875 or they're going to prosecute me to the fullest extent of the law.
Oh my gosh, you better send the money now.
I'm going to right now. I got to go Venmo as soon as we're off the air here. Okay. All right. It's on the way.
Good call.
Obviously, our topic today is
Tax fraud, or actually
scams.
scams.
Yes.
It's tax season. We're all getting our stuff ready for taxes if we haven't already turned them in to our accountants or whoever. But there's a lot of scams out there that are going to take advantage of this season, like they always do, to get you. And what did you just do?
Well, I lied to them because I'm not calling them back. I'm not sending them any money because I know the IRS never ever does two things.
They don't call you. They don't email you.
Right.
They don't text you.
And they never threaten you
No.
immediately.
Yeah, it's more like a long, drawn-out bureaucratic process, right?
Lots
So-
of paperwork.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
paperwork. So,
And they're never going to ask for things like, what do some of the scammers want to get paid in, like gift cards and
Yeah.
just things like that,
Bitcoin.
either Bitcoin
Bitcoin it's just not going to happen. So we're going to help you avoid these. You know, I have a list of email headlines that they use, and you know, just some general things to look out for, and in general, so you don't get scammed. But before we do, get on our newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the kind of news that I share in it, besides handy tips to keep you more productive at your work and in your business. So let's go, right? So the first one is email phishing scams.
Yeah. Easy.
Well,
Simple.
your account or tax return is locked or restricted.
Restricted. Yeah.
They're not going to email you, period.
So what the scammer or the hacker is trying to do here is to social engineer you into feeling that you need to take some sort of action or provide some additional information regarding your account credentials in the guise of being a legit email. And the whole time they're just basically preying upon your
Fear.
your
Fear.
your sense of trust, things like that, because they could put a stamp on it or a logo on it that looks legit.
Yeah, like copying your tax filing.
And
company
again,
or
you know,
something.
not to beat up on our government, but they certainly are not going to make it easy for you to. The government is very bureaucratic. The scammers are going to make it extremely easy. So if you're ever in a doubt, think about it. Is this hard to do? If it's hard to do, it's probably the government.
Yeah.
If it's easy to do, it's probably the hacker.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Except that
You know,
it's still not going to be an email.
Put it this way, the hacker is not going to make you file any paperwork to get it done. So
True. That's a good point. That's a
Right.
good point.
So the other thing is these email examples have the IRS logo, which is, well, probably most 5-year-olds could copy that from somewhere and paste it into an email.
So you could just do a little screen,
Yeah, exactly.
a screenshot
yeah.
and edit it to make it
100
look, yeah,
Yeah, 100 programs where you could do
yeah,
it.
it's easy.
So what you have to be aware of is when they say, like this one is, "Dear Sir, Madam, dear IRS client," right? I would think if they don't know your name, you know, they're fake, right?
For sure.
If they're coming after you, they know your name and they know who you are. So if it doesn't have your name on there, and just because it does doesn't mean it's real, and check the from email address, right? It's going to be irs.gov, not some strange permutation of that.
Except they'll never email you.
Exactly. So that will be
your first indicator is that it won't be what you know. What they could do is copy your tax preparer, because I do communicate with my tax preparer via email. You know, so
Yeah.
that's a possibility too.
in two ways they come after you, or two kind of subject matter that they come after you for is the economic impact payments, or those stimulus checks that I think we all received here a year or 2 years ago. You know, here's another easy subject matter to say, hey, stimulus payment, reimbursement, da-da-da-da-da, fill in the information, and wow, you
You
got
have money.
fished.
You have money.
Yeah, and then the second one would be unemployment, we're still sort of on the heels of living through the COVID, and many people are unemployed, still unemployed, or have been. And with taxes coming up, unemployment is a huge piece of it. So an easy way to get duped, and the hackers know this, is to simply play to your fears, play to your trusts again, and say, hey, if you want that additional unemployment credit, or whatever they want to phrase it as, click here. And the next thing you know, you've been hacked. So
tax payment was deducted from your account. You are eligible to receive a refund. All
That's
kinds
a
of
huge one. It's
yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm going to get money back.
Yeah.
This one is comical because it says, you probably can't see it here, but it says Internal Revenue Service, and then in parentheses, IRS. Just in case you didn't know who that was.
yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And read, of course, obviously emails, not the IRS.
right. It simply won't be. So be aware that the IRS does not contact you via email,
right.
text, or phone.
So how would they contact you?
Mail,
Mail?
right? Snail mail?
Yep, US mail.
US mail.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on. The other part of the tax season that they'll use, and I mentioned it already, is they will try to imitate your tax preparer, right? Which is a little bit more sneaky, right? There's business identity theft, which is what I'm talking about when they take the identity of your tax preparer
Right.
and try to fish you that way. There's fraudulent phone calls, right? I've gotten those before.
Yep.
Have you?
Dave just fell for one.
I did.
Oh yeah, you did. You did. Oh my gosh, and you're sending them money. Are you crazy? So, some tips to stay safe,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Use your nose. If it doesn't smell right.
Yeah.
definitely.
When in doubt, throw it out.
Yep. And not just IRS scams.
All scams.
Exactly.
And that kind of brings us back. We've said it before, but go to the source.
Yes.
If you
Not through the email
not through the email and
or the web page.
yeah, just
Says you have a virus or whatever it is.
go to the actual website or call the person.
Call your accountant on the number that theirs.
Yeah, and that's what I do. I mean, actually, we just set up appointments with each other and then call.
And the
So-
nice thing is nowadays, you have your accountant on your phone, and when someone calls claiming to be them and it's not that number as your contact in the phone, it's easy to say, well, wait a minute, did you change your phone number? No. So that's a huge flag.
Yeah. And one I just thought of that wasn't on here is sometimes they will actually make a fake website that looks like
Yes.
Intuit or Quicken or one of those. I
Yep.
mean, they don't last for long because they do get caught. But if you end up, that's why you don't click the links. That's why you go outside, open a new browser, go to the website, type it in, right?
Right.
I've had that happen before in the past where it was American Express, I think.
I remember.
And it was like a redirect
Yeah.
on my browser, right? They must have had a cookie of some sort
Yep.
that redirected it. Took me a while to figure out how to fix it so I could actually get to my American Express account. That was kind of crazy.
When I first started in this, right after college, I had an email that my Fifth Third Bank account was closed, locked, compromised, whatever, which was interesting because I don't have a Fifth Third account. So I clicked on the link. It was far less dangerous to do so in those days.
Yeah, this was a long time ago for me.
Brought up a web page with the login.
Mhm.
On their homepage was a login. And I looked at the web page, and it was Fifth Third Bank. And then I opened another browser and went Fifth Third Bank, and it was exactly the same, down to the warning not to follow emails that say your Fifth Third Bank account has been, not to follow the links on your in an email saying your Fifth Third
So
Bank
it
account
was like
has
an
been
exact
compromised.
replica.
Yeah.
Except it was you know, but it was fascinating. It was like they just basically copied the entire source for that
Yeah.
and just put it on another website.
Yep.
And what are they doing?
Well, good point. What they want you to do is if you have a Fifth Third account, type in username and password, and
Then they
it's
got
going to
it.
fail,
Yeah.
but they've captured
But
it.
they've captured it.
Yes.
Yep.
And you probably get, if they're really smart, once you fail, they will bring you to the real Fifth Third website,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll log in, and you'll not think, oh, I didn't type my
Something
password in
glitched or
correctly.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so hey, they're not
Yeah, they're
stupid, folks.
sneaky, sneaky, sneaky.
Yes.
Okay, so just a few tips for our business owners, right? Make sure you have next gen antivirus, right? Make sure you have a firewall, right?
Yes.
Use multi-factor authentication on everything. And don't use the same password twice.
Never use your passwords.
Just a quick note on that multi-factor too. Most of these vendors have these third-party software management programs too that have capabilities of being visible. And if they don't have a multi-factor already in place, I would encourage your tax preparer to put that in place too. You know, not just for your security, but for their security in the bigger picture. Because
Right. Especially if you're using their
Yeah.
website.
Correct.
If you're using their logging into a
Correct.
website.
And anytime you're touching anything that logs you in, there should be some
That is a good point.
multi-factor to jump into it, because if it's not, man, Aaron personally would be very skeptical about my financial information not behind something else.
I feel good about myself when I log into a website and it wants to send my phone. They have my phone
Yeah.
number. They're going to send me a text.
Yep,
They're legit,
yep.
right?
Yeah.
The scammers, they don't know your phone number.
Well, there might be some accountants out there that just don't have that set up, and that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
You can't be too careful,
So-
folks.
Just ask them to enable that if you're doing it that way. What else?
Encrypt your drives, which is password protecting your files and folders. It's a good security measure.
And I do know some of our businesses, when they have laptops out in the field, they'll have the whole system encrypted
Yep.
Yeah.
with I forget the names of the
Like
software.
TPM.
Yeah.
Is one.
Like if they lose if the employee loses the laptop or whatever, they can actually remotely basically destroy it so
Erase
that it
it,
can't
yep.
none of the data can be confiscated.
And then they also have a chip in the laptop that if someone steals your laptop, they're just going to pull the hard drive out and they put it in plug it into another computer to get data off it.
It's not going to work.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's good stuff. We haven't mentioned that before.
Right.
That might be a good topic someday.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so, and then, make sure you have a disaster recovery plan, which is going to be one of our next topics, by the
Right.
way. So stay tuned for that.
Why backups are so important.
Yeah. That's it. That's what I have. Unless you guys have more.
I like this one right here. This is kind of what you talked about, Aaron. Fear the fear, it says. Beware of emails and texts that invoke fear, especially if it's to do with owing money.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point too.
Like you
If they're
said.
invoking fear, they want something.
Yes. Yep. And
Excellent.
like if it's easy, it's not the IRS.
No. Gosh, no.
Same with fear. They're not going to threaten you. They're going to work with you and try and figure out what's going on. You have due process. You have, this is America. You still have certain rights and
Absolutely.
and you can hire a lawyer or, dispute their claims, whatever. So
If they're real.
yes,
Fear the fear. I do like that one. That's a really good point.
yeah, I never saw that one.
It's a good point though.
Yeah, and I guess I want to stress another kind of factor here that I think is overlooked a bit too. Maybe you have been phished on an IRS or a tax or some other kind of scam, and it wasn't apparent. It didn't pop up and say, "Hey, we gotcha." It was just, it happened in the background, and you have no idea. That information is going to then be sold on the dark web. And then it's going to be accessible to many, many, many hackers tenfold. So it may not be somebody looking for you, but it's just somebody collecting a large amount of information that they're going to then pool with other phished people and then sell it to somebody who's going to run a program then to go after whatever it is they're looking for. So, you know, there's always going to be moments where learning is key, but also if you have the capability to do sort of a dark web scan, or as a business owner, you can do what's called a penetration test that will allow you to kind of find out what may or may not be out there. If you have passwords that have been currently leaked, these are some things with, you know, with, as we're talking about today, with being educated, being prepared, being cued into what the scams are is one piece, but also being diligent on the other end and keeping up on these tasks and making sure that that information is not available for the bad guys.
The one word that stuck out there is educated. You know, like do your homework. You know, dig into it further. You know, there's resources on what's called the internet that you can. And I've always said this when I given some presentations is, if you get an email with some sort of scenario in it, go outside of that email and Google the scenario.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you, or if you get a phone call from someone, Google that phone number. It'll come up and say, this has been reported as, you know, if it's a scammer. So, you know,
That's true.
go
I've done
outside, go around and Google the scenario, you know, look or search the scenario and see if it's common. And if it's a common scam, oh, you'll have hundreds and hundreds of hits saying, yeah, don't reply to, you know, so-and-so.
Situational awareness.
Yeah, there you go.
Situational awareness, fear the fear.
Fear the fear. That's a good one. I'm never gonna forget
And
that one.
sign up-
Subscribe to our
Subscribe to our newsletter. And if you're a business owner and want one of those, what's it called? Penetration tests. They're pretty cool. They'll show you lots of stuff. You get this report. Anyway, you can let us know at what is it? security@dstech.net, or just sign up for our newsletter. You know, that way you always have our contact information. You can call us. Don't call.
Oh, I got another call from the IRS. No.
Don't take it.
Oh, okay.
They won't call you.
You sure?
I know you really think they will, but
All right.
okay. So have a great day, and we'll see you next time.